What's up, card family? How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's doing just grand. It is kind of a crummy day here in southern Minnesota. It has been raining since about 10 o'clock last night. It just stopped and it's currently 11, so it rained for about 12 hours. So anyways, today I'm going to show off some mail that I got sent to by Bluejacket 66. And he had a little contest looking for a certain Easter egg in one of his videos, which I happened to spot. And I was the first one to comment. And here he says, "Good eye, my friend, Bluejacket 66. So let's see what that giveaway entailed. The first card is a Hires Root Beer. Not sure the year, but Mr. Pete Runnels. Pete Runnels was actually a Washington Senator for a long time. I believe he was an All-Star. And we got a Dandy potato chips. Mike Garcia, Cleveland Indians. He was actually a 20-game winner in 1952, 18-game winner in 1953, I see by the stats. Okay. And he also sent this 1973 Topps Brooks Robinson, which is in really good shape. Okay. Then we have a 61 Topps. Yep, 61 Topps. Eddie Matthews. And then these two are just awesome. A couple of 58 Willie Mays. We got the All-Star and the base card. Very awesome. And these are my first Willie Mays cards from his playing days. So as a baseball card collector, that's kind of a big deal. So for Dave, cards that were just lying around, those are pretty big cards for me. I mean, I don't make a ton of money. I'm a middle-class guy. I'm raising 3 children, and that's very expensive. And I know that there's a lot of collectors out there that have much greater means than I do. And there are a lot of collectors who spend much more than their means. But that's besides the point. Somewhat of a bad segue to talk about something that those back pages recently made a video about, and that was about value versus worth, among other things. And he talked about specifically junk wax cards and how maybe they weren't worth a lot of monetary value, but they were worth sentimental value, memory. I guess that's pretty much the same thing as the sentimental value. But what kinds of feelings those certain cards from that time period can invoke in us collectors. And it made me think about collecting with Blake and how I hope that he cherishes all these memories, that he cherishes the collection that we've built. And I know that he's not as interested in it as he was when we first started, but he still likes it. He still likes to open cards. He just doesn't get quite as excited as he did when we first started, and that's okay. I mean, children today, they don't have the attention span. They have so many other things going on that, you know, a piece of cardboard with a shiny, glossy finish doesn't really, you know, do as much for them as it did for us. And there's no other kids really in his class that collect. I think he said there's one other kid, but when I was a kid, that was a big thing that a lot of people did, was collect cards. A lot of kids collected, and we traded, and we carried around our Becketts like they were Bibles. And so I hope that he is gaining some value out of these cards. When we first started, you know, I was tempted to grab a Beckett, but one thing that turned me off was they were $10 for a Beckett. Another thing that turned me off was I didn't want to know what the monetary value was. I thought it would take a lot of the fun away from collecting with him. And he made, I think it was his first video, was his top 10 favorite cards. And I still get comments on that video, and a lot of them are from people saying negative things like, those cards are all shit, or those cards aren't any good. And it just makes me shake my head. Like, how sad can your life be when you have to come and rip on an 8-year-old kid's baseball card collection? You know, he had only been collecting for a month or two, few months, whatever, and he picked out the cards based upon how they looked, or what players they represented, or where he got them, and it had nothing to do with monetary value. And most of the people who make those comments, most of the commenters are like 12-year-old kids. So you don't want to get in a fight with them, you know, you just delete the comment, kind of ignore it, whatever. But I feel like those junk wax cards have increased in value, even monetary value, because especially for set builders and player collectors, big for player collectors. You know, I collect a player that was mainly in the junk wax era, was almost completely in the junk wax era. Doesn't have vintage cards. You know, his rookie cards are cheap. I'm talking about Kirby Puckett here. Doesn't really go into the late 90s fancy inserts and rare inserts. A little bit, but not very much. And but when you're buying these cards, for your collection, they're 50 cents to $1, which is what they were worth according to Beckett back then, you know, back when they were out. And to me, a Beckett doesn't say anything about price. A PSA price guide. Now we have eBay. Now we have other markets, and that's what the value is. And I include the shipping cost in that. I mean, what would you pay for this card? The shipping cost is included to me. So on these low-end cards, they're going for 50 cents to $1. Shipping, $1 or more. That's what those cards are worth. Those cards are worth $1. Those cards are worth $2. Now those back pages made the argument, you know, you can buy a vending case for pretty cheap, and it comes out to be, you know, 5 cents a card or less, which is true. But if you're buying these cards individually, if you don't want all the junk, if you don't want all the mass, I mean, part of that cheap price is like, we want to get rid of this. We want to get rid of this huge box. So that's part of the cheap price. It's a fire sale, you know, literally, like, we want to get this the hell out of here. We don't want this taking up space. And so that's part of the cheapness of that. You got to sort through it. You got to pay a lot more on shipping. But to me, you know, like I said, a 1987 Kirby Puckett base card cost you about the same as a 2017 Mike Trout Topps base card. I mean, the base cards and even the inserts of the modern stuff is selling for the same as the junk wax era stuff. So to me, it has gained a little bit of value because a lot of those old collectors are coming back into the hobby. Now, if you have a bulk collection that you want to get rid of, no, it's not going to have a lot of value, but specific cards are worth money to specific people, to certain collectors that are looking for that set or that player. So that's the market. I mean, that's the demand. The demand is set builders and player collectors, and they're going to pay $1 for a card that they need. I mean, what did Beckett say that 1992 Don Mattingly was worth in 1992? 25 cents? Well, you're going to pay at least that for it now. You know, maybe the bigger end cards, the Griffey Jr. rookie cards and stuff, they're not worth the same amount as they were, but I mean, that's sort of to be expected. But to me, yeah, there's definitely a sentimental value to them. I hope these cards that we're collecting now have sentimental value to Blake someday. Right now, nothing has sentimental value to him right now. He's 10 years old, and he just wants to have fun with his friends. He wants to play Fortnite. He wants to play football, baseball. But yeah, I hope that he at least gets some enjoyment out of doing this with Dad. So anyways, it's kind of probably a boring video. Probably didn't say anything too interesting, but just wanted to ramble for a while and yak away. So thanks for watching if you stuck around for all 11 plus minutes of it. But thanks a lot to Dave, to Bluejacket 66, for sending me my first Willie Mays.